Yeah, basically, this is me. Don't know whether you guys are into videos, well, like this. There's been a few, I suppose the Instagram ones, a little bit more, less action, boring sort of stuff, building engines, doing different mods, etc., putting things back in. But yeah, basically, after seeing a few sort of, I don't know, blog style documentaries, I thought maybe I've got something to talk about. Those of you who know me, when I'm sober, I'm usually pretty quiet unless I've got something, that I'm passionate about. But yeah, basically, if you haven't got anything worth saying, I don't say a lot. But so I suppose start with, name, Chad Douglas. Obviously the Ute, everyone knows, Team Mental. A lot of you won't know, probably started back in 2008, I think it was. Obviously it was a street car before it was a burnout car, but yeah, I used to do the odd skid on the street. And then obviously had a 5.5 that I had built for it. Didn't really go wrong, it was just 304 issues, or lowish oil pressure at idle. I thought was wrong. Turns out it's just a standard thing with them. But anyway, yanked the engine, sold that. Sat for a couple of years while we had kids, moved up to the city, and then reading magazine, a few you might know, Street Commodores, the article Tough Cab, Luke Foley's yellow VN with a turbo LS1 in it. Yeah, I suppose that was my main inspiration. Turned the Ute into a burnout Ute. I mean, I get that's a drag car or street drag car, but I suppose that was what really kicked it off. Looking at things like the VL manual rack, shifting a few bits and pieces around, the cut the steering rack and different bits for the starter relocation and things like that. Was a Castlemaine rod shop kit back when they were the old company. And I suppose turbo seemed more realistic at the time too, because I like doing shit that no one else really does. Not always going to have all fans from that, but that's what it is. And I suppose the pipes at that time, the Castlemaine kit, or the set of headers that they sold were 1 3/4. I think they were designed to fit a VB, and they actually told me, you might just have to hammer up your floor panel to get them to fit. And I thought, no, fuck that. So, basically nothing against the guys that own the shop now. It's a totally different crew. But I decided I would cut and shut sort of VE headers that, if guys remember the early days, it's actually on this channel. When it was NA, the pipes used to go up and then down forward, looked like a damn jet boat or something. But that sort of was the catalyst, I suppose, for the first set of turbo headers out of steam pipe, like shed 40 mile steam pipe, and had single GX Garrett on there. But anyway, not to get bogged down with all that. I suppose why start this now? Mostly out of professional courtesy, I suppose. I don't. A lot of you won't know. I judge for some nats, or did for some nats. The Australian Burnout Championship, the only one of those. Judged for the boys in South Australia. Judged Top End Tyre Fest for Jeremy and the crew up there. A lot of different shows around the country. I've been lucky enough to be to most states, which is pretty cool. Like I said, get into it a little bit later. I'm really grateful for the amount of people I've met. Entrants mainly, just awesome people, and get to do something I love and critique it at the same time. Basically stepping back from that obligation, I'm just doing our own series now, and even that I'm just sort of coordinating more the data collection and the judging. just 10, 12 years, whatever it is, feel like I've sort of done my time. Hoping some new blood will come through, and I've got a good crew. I'll thank them a bit later too. Basically, this is a way. It doesn't matter how many times you write things down, you can only convey so much in text, or you convey the wrong thing just through the lack of words and the emotion that comes with it, I suppose, or the tone even. But yeah, I suppose to give you an overview of why I got into it, obviously moved to Rockingham. We've moved away from the country. It's only 10 minutes from the motorplex. Did some of my first, wasn't my first comp there, but did a lot of my early days competing up there. Mind blown by the facility that was just 10 minutes down the road. And yeah, like I said, whenever mine was out of action, used to throw my hand up, to push broom, pad staff, push cars off, whatever I could do to help. I suppose in the end that led to, I can't even remember, it was, I think that was about the 2009-10 period that sort of started, and then under Pikey from memory. But yeah, I don't remember if he was the guy that ran that meeting at the time, but it was starting to get some bigger cars. That was about the time I was already turboed. But yeah, basically the guys were challenging the concept that we used to have car presentation as one of the judge criterias, and it was pretty ridiculous in my eyes, as much as at the time we got rid of it. Mine had one of probably the nicest paint jobs I ever had, say what you want about him, but Dave from Gas really hooked us up, looked after the ute, did us 2 or 3 killer paint jobs, something out of the box, and I think that's what he liked about freedom. With mine, it was something different, and the paint jobs that he put on were something different, like the Flames one. So everyone loves it, bring it back. I can't bring it back, can't go backwards. It was left where it was, but only because I'd hit a few different things. I got a bit of magnetism to walls. But yeah, I said if you're not pushing hard enough, you're not going to get near them. So, and that's, I suppose, leads me into what I like. The speed, and why I think driving skill in the criteria is such a big thing. Journey from there, to judging for Summernats, etc. When the ute was that colour scheme, I ended up going to 27, Summernats 27 for the Masters, and then wasn't long after that. Basically, I got a call from Kev, who obviously runs the judging over there. They'd sort of seen that I was a key part of driving the motorplex towards running their scorecard, going away from the presentation. Figured if there was as good a scorecard as any, it would be theirs to base what we wanted to do here off of. So that's the way we went. Obviously, guys like Aaron Mackley, Red, Matty, Scotty, and a few others. A lot of inspiration from them. Been doing it for a lot of years, a lot more than me. Do their own things, like their own styles. Nothing wrong with that at all. Like I said, with the right scorecard, I think you'll get the right winner 100% of the time, or pretty damn close anyway. And like I said, I'll get into it later, but I'm only ever there for fun anyway, so it doesn't worry me too much. Not there for cattle stations. I don't need to win. I get there's a lot of money on the line. A lot of guys put a lot of money into this stupid sport, and they it's easy to get wound up in it, I suppose. But that's my take on it anyway. But like I said, I like to see the right winner walk away. I like to know that I've done a good job, and I can stand by every result I've given to. It's not not like people think, oh, you were robbed. Or, did you watch every burnout? Did you actually judge it against the criteria? No, you didn't. You watched your mates burn out and maybe two others, and then you're hammered. Like, you don't actually realise some of the results until you see them. And yeah, I suppose we'll cover a little bit more of that. But I suppose the team here that I've had for a long time too, Cam, Nath and Chris, they've helped me out a lot over the years. Without the right guys behind the clipboards, you probably don't get the right results. It takes a lot to be objective, even when it doesn't matter how much of a saint you are. You can dislike some people, but yeah, remaining objective when you see them out there is the biggest thing, and giving them the score that they deserve. And that's what makes a good judge in my eyes, I think, as well, being able to do that. Not only that, but I suppose the other part of that is 50% of the scorecard is driver control. If you've never driven before, it makes it kind of hard in my eyes to rate that. How deep in a corner did you get? How fast did you come in? You did a 720 versus or the back end stepped out in a puddle of coolant that you weren't expecting, but you captured it. Braked, hopped it left instead of going right, which way the car was going, that sort of thing. Like, guys that have never done it before, nothing against them. I just don't know if they know exactly how hard sometimes it is. Even the guys, some are quite vocal that seem to have a few less cylinders than others and don't realise how much the car changes when you actually step up the power and step up the wheel speed. And then appreciation a lot of guys probably won't have for mine too, is it's totally different kettle of fish again. You can't just pedal it like a blown car, get on and off it to straighten yourself or stop yourself sliding. If I get right off it and don't get back on it quick enough, I lose all that intake charge. I've got 2 7-diff gears and no chance of recovering without pulling a gear. Like, it's, much as the engine might make 450, 500 naturally aspirated on its own, it just doesn't recover with hot tyres and that sort of drop in momentum and boost pressure. So like I said, a lot of guys probably won't appreciate that about mine, but again, I'm never there to win. I don't really care where I place a lot of the time, and people that challenge that, I can quite honestly say, especially the last 18 months, I've done a lot of where I've been judging and just gone out for a play. Look, I wouldn't call it a demo because I don't think I'm anything special, but being actually able to just go out and have fun without that pressure of competition, and that's how I go into competition now. I don't take that pressure with me because I don't really care. Like I said, the guys that get the butterflies and whatever up front, I think that's a part of it, and I think that's what builds a little bit of that anger or that surprise, I suppose, when you don't come out maybe where you thought you would. But anyway, I suppose back to Summits. I've got to thank them again. Without them, obviously some of the opportunities that I had elsewhere wouldn't have come about. As much as those names weren't really broadcast, there was a level of prestige, I suppose, or something like that with having that role. And a lot of people will sort or try and source those judges for their events, whether it be for the the intention they think of Masters tickets, or whether they think they just want if he's judging there, he's got to know what he's talking about. But I suppose the other part of that is I've really got to thank him for taking on board, after only a couple of years of me being there. I actually changed the Summonats scorecard after I can't remember if it was a text or a call from Stephen Loader. So the day after, or the Monday, whatever it was, when we were flying home, And yeah, I mean, my take on it was probably different to maybe a few others, but it was more directed around, I basically chose that driver controls where we had to push things. And those guys are already making 1200, whatever, 1400 horsepower supposedly. There's only so much wheel speed and smoke you can make, and end of the day, it sort of becomes counterproductive to drivers' control when you get to that point. Like, you just run out of visibility. You can't go as quick. You can't push it as deep in the corners. Unless you're either crazy or got massive balls. It's not. You get to a point. So, like I said, I think balancing up that score from, it used to be 40, and then basically I took the tyres. So tyres used to be a positive points, so you were 10 or 5 points for each tyre. So basically took that away, made that a deduction in my eyes if you weren't banging tyres or if you're doing something wrong in a burnout. So made that another points penalty, and then went to 50-50, so half driver control, half smoke scores, so instant, constant and volume. And like I said, that weighting seems to fit for the majority of classes and competitions, really. Like I said, a lot of guys don't think about the fact that Canberra or some of that is bitumen too, just eats tyres compared to everywhere else. A lot of guys that have been there more than a couple of times will know, and they change diff gears, etc. accordingly. It's just one of them things that just pumps up the smoke, unless there's been a heap of oil downs and shit before you. But it's always pretty hot over there too, so it always makes it a little bit more grippy again. But I suppose carrying on from the thanks and whatever else, I said we've been to Alice as well with the Sumnats crew, done 4 or 5 red centres, I think it was. Then my wife, just being the person she was, Hayley, helping out, just running stuff around to people, etc. But purely out of love or whatever else you'd want to call it. But she did that, and Ellie from Sumnats noticed, and anyway, she said, "Oh, do you want to come back next year as a worker?" And that carried on for a couple of years, and then COVID hit, and basically Ellie was locked out of the Northern Territory, as was Kev. So basically, I ran the biggest portion of the judging, and Hayley did a lot of. Well, not a lot of, but a majority of Ellie's old role. There was a couple that were lucky enough to be able to get out of the state early enough to be able to get up there, Andy and the crew. So it was do what you can in the times. Remote judging became a thing out of COVID too. Do I like it? Not really. There's more than just what's directly in front of you or directly on the screen. A lot of guys, I watched it on Facebook and he clearly wasn't a winner. You weren't there, you don't get as much as speakers and mics and everything else are great. They don't tell you wind direction, they don't tell you, how much moisture's on the pad. Like, you can't hear, the difference in the sound when a car's swinging still in, a total fog out compared to if it's just sitting static. You eventually pick that up when the majority of the smoke clears and it's only shooting one direction. But, for the biggest time, you don't notice that on camera. You don't get that through a lot of Facebook live feed. It's quite restricted, and once you start actually looking at those criteria, you actually notice that. So basically, grateful to some of those guys again. Ellie, giving Hayley the opportunity as well. Even Nathan Predo. I got a certificate up there that it's the only one that I've ever received, but it's just accreditation, just something different that he did for us three, myself and Mackley, and it was good of them. Like you said, Scotty was there as well, so the three of us got these certificates, but using the live judging, it's a great thing, and I 100% support total visibility or total clarity for the drivers. The biggest problem I run into is without that system, you just can't display that amount of detail to everyone at ease. I've always been a supporter. If someone asked me after the comp, I'll quite happily give them the whole breakdown of their scores. Like I said, I've got nothing to hide. None of my guys have either. So they said, total accountability, 100%. Not a problem there. I said the hardest part is conveying all that data, and then, like I said, if you convey all that data and people don't understand that data, like I said, once you start getting a lot of penalties, or you potentially end up with a negative score. If you go out and only make a couple of seconds worth of smoke, car coughs and stops, you've potentially got hung up or selected reverse, or something's happened there too. Like I said, you've got straight away you've got no tyres, you've got pushed off the pad, you've got potentially reverse, stopping. Depending on fire, you could instantly be 60 points down, and you've only made 10. Like, it's not unheard of. Like I said, giving everyone that data, they said a little bit's dangerous, or a little bit of information is dangerous sometimes. Without full story, I suppose, this free talk is an opportunity to give a bit more detail behind that. So I suppose that led me to, once we'd changed some of that scorecard, I wanted to bring that back here. We were already sort of using what they used, and I wanted to standardise basically everywhere I judged, everywhere throughout the state that I could, get everyone on the same page. So basically you rock up to a comp, you don't have to ask, you know what the scorecard is. It's the same everywhere. You know what the judges are looking for if you're that hell-bent on actually competing. And like I said, same thing again. I get a lot of guys will message, how can I do better? Right, well, here's your scorecard, here's your data, here's where, I can't remember 150, 200 burnouts from a weekend, 1 or 2 heats and a final. Like I said, that's a massive amount. Sometimes I can remember standouts, but I can't remember down to each number on every car. Like I said, a lot of things. A lot of people will do too. Like, when you judge them from the stands, you pick out the one bad thing that person did. Like I said, he was on the limit of the whole skid was probably the classic. Throttle control was up to shit. I suppose that's one thing within driver control. I never supported having a penalty for limiter, because you do that once. What's once? Is it 2 seconds? Is it 5 seconds? Is it 20 times? What is it? Throttle control then covers limiter use, but it also gives you that scaling. Theoretically 1 to 10. I break my driver control up into your tipping, your pad speed, your pad usage, your throttle control, and then just general excitement. Like I suppose your examples are your Lynchies, total wheelmen, just excitement, this close to the wall, fucking just out there drivers. You don't always pull it off all the time, but fuck, it's good to watch. If you can do that with bulk smoke, you should win 100% of the time. I suppose that brings me to the one thing that I would change. A lot of people don't know that. So you get the Masters time limit. That's only used in Masters competitions. So the Masters class at Canberra, obviously. Red Centre and Rocky, as far as I'm aware from memory. So I've judged that one remotely, but never actually had the opportunity to get there with COVID. But yeah, I suppose my case or point of contention there was Thomas Beltrain. 4 or 5 years ago, being at Masters finals. That was that Lynchy skid, with bulk smoke, 1471 blowing big block or whatever the hell's in that shorty. It was crazy skid to watch, and I was one of the guys with the stop clock, and it was 59 seconds by mine, and the other guy had the same. So what do? You had to give him that penalty. That rule was there. It sucked like hell. 1 second. I mean, to lose out on what should have been his year was, what do you do? My reasoning or theory behind it, I could tell a lot of people, don't just tell me no, tell me why, or how do we fix the other half of it. If your skid is ridiculously short, you're not covering as much pad, you're usually going a hell of a lot slower, which rips tyres off a hell of a lot quicker. So straight away, you're down on driver control, obviously overall, but your pad usage and your car speed, two big factors within that. Like I said, some guys like the slow controlled skids of 10-15 years ago. Not me. Like I said, there's that balance, and hopefully you have that on your panel. And like I said, I think that's where some of that does it really well, having 5 or 6 judges depending on which part of the championship or the Masters you've got. You get that spread or that variety of opinion. You also got more eyes on more corners. Like I said, we're only human, but you can only see what you can see too. Like I said, a wall hit, you actually have to see it. I suppose one thing I do here is if one guy sees it, I trust my judges. So, one guy sees it, it's happened. It goes across every judge's scores, the way I set my database up. And a lot of people struggle with that concept. I don't know why. Like I said, each judge puts in what he thinks a person's done. If that judge misses, half a second's worth of contact because of visibility, well then, again, he's only human. Like I said, it's probably another reason why I'm stepping back. It's a little bit hard to wear mono goggles and glasses. I think I wear glasses now, I'm getting old. But yeah, like I said, you can't see everything all the time, especially not in a fucking cloud of smoke or while being sprayed with rubber and belt debris and everything else comes off those tyres. So yeah, methanol fumes burning your eyes, but I suppose a lot of that standardisation comes back to why we started the series. I wanted the same judges, or at least a portion of the judging panel across the entire series, and obviously we're from those those country areas as much as there's guys up north and wherever else. Like I said, we're only human. We can only do 70 Ks, and you help out your mates first. Like I said, I was from Wagen. Wagen was, much as loved Cliffy, this was the first one to go. That was a lifestyle choice, to move back up to here. We actually swapped about the same time. So he was originally from Rockingham, moved down to Wagen as I moved up. So we sort of crossed paths, but always made the effort to go back where I could. Support the comp. And then, like I said, it was a no-brainer. To be one of the first ones part of the series, and like I said, he was the first guy to put his money up and help us kick off, get us off the ground. So kudos to him. The series also is about making it fun, making it easy on entrance. One sign up, one lot of insurance, one system, one number for the entire series. Like I said, me, part of being blind, you probably see the big number up in the top left there. that's another thing. Hate going to comps and see a little tiny number, dry throat, scribbled in pen somewhere on the car. It's painful. Can't bloody see it. Nothing worse than getting a score wrong because of a bloody 2 cents worth of whiteout, or bloody, like I said, that whole window banner costs us $10-12. It's no brainer to me, and it's another opportunity for us to give back to our sponsors and advertise the comps. Like I said, there's no one else really doing that. There's no one else making unique entrant merchandise as such that only the entrants can buy. There's not even buy. They get their shirt as part of the pack. There's been other comps that have done that days gone by, no worries, but like I said, you get your shirt with your like you said, details up front, and then you've got access to the same sort of merch, but in the hoodies and whatever else. This year we've sort of expanded there. Again, people think, is it a money making exercise? Hell no. People struggle with the fact that we're not for profit. Every cent we put in plus tenfold, like the van I've spent God knows how many weeks on now repainting and mechanically repairing to try and get up to a standard. That's all cash out of my pocket. The series didn't fund the purchase of that. They didn't fund the transfer. They didn't any of the repairs, any of the paint, nothing. That's all me. Paul does countless hours, and like I said, it's weird that two people that never really knew each other prior both have a similar idea and somehow end up met up with that. I think it was Jeff Wallace from Katanning that might have put the two of them together, to be honest, or at least a comment that sort of drove us together, and ended up forming the majority of it with Brooke from BTG's help. But like I said, Paul does some stupid amount of hours and puts in countless dollars as well, using his own Bobcat and that for the Albany show construction down there, that he travel across to there all the time for meetings, etc. People don't get that, but quite happy to criticise on Facebook because it's easy. But like I said, I think the guys, we filled our entire entrant card within 4 or 5 weeks, I think it was this time, and that was locked out months in advance. That gave us the opportunity to be able to order the merch months in advance. That's all the boxes and shit you can see behind us. My only sort of moral dilemma is now people have paid for that, but I think the majority of them are happy to wait till Narrogin, which I'd like to see. Everyone wearing the new merch, they get the window banners, their packs all at the same time. So anyway, I suppose I've rambled on for nearly half an hour, but let us know if you want to know more, want to see more of this type of thing. Like I said, not great at eye contact even with the camera, but like I said, I got a lot to say on the topic, I suppose, but now I don't know, now I just don't feel guilty about saying it. I've done my time, and like I said, there was never anything to hide. It was just professional courtesy, I suppose. Not everything needs to be said all the time, but like I said, got plenty more to talk about this damn ute too. A lot of stuff you don't see in the videos, even on the Instagram stuff, which seems to be more of the technical side of things. But let us know what you think in the comments. Yeah.